Alright everybody, this is Eternal Blade here and welcome back to part 1 of the cruise cabin texturing tutorial. So a lot of you guys have asked for the texturing and rendering, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. So the first thing I want to do is actually talk about this wall texture. I'd already had this on for the majority of the build, so I just want to give you a quick recap of what it is. Let me just delete all these, delete that. This is a gray material. So the default wall texture is basically a standard V-Ray material using a blend shader here. Pull it up. And then the ambient color is just sort of a light orange. And the bump map is composed of a very small size 0.3 fractal bump map. Okay? And that's really all there is to it. That's the entire wall texture that I'm using for this entire build. It's really simple. I mean, you can see in here, it's just got a slight bump to it, you know, in the reflections, and just a subtle color. So I believe that'll be perfect for what we want. And actually, now one of the things I noticed in this image, which is our sort of reference image, is that there's actually multiple sort of colors, like two-tone color in here. So we're actually going to give that a shot. So let's go ahead and copy this noise map, okay? And we're going to make the noise probably 0.5, so we're going to make it a little bigger, maybe even 0.7, okay? And go in here and let's copy this color and paste it. Let's see if it'll let us. Oh, here it is. Paste into there, okay? And let's paste into here as well. And in here, let's give it just a bit darker color, okay? So now we've kind of got these two colors going on that are very similar. But one is a bit darker. And let's put that into our diffuse color, okay? That'll just give us a little extra variation. Now let's zoom in here and do an area render, just like so. And let's render this out and see what we get. Alright, so you can see it's a little darker. So let's actually, I'm just going to drag that over to the side here. Let's lighten this back up. Okay. That'll just go to very slight variation. Okay, let's try again. Alright, so there we go. Now we have just a little bit of splotches that are different color. But for the most part, it's almost the exact same. Just gives us that sort of textured look I was going for. Okay? So that is our wall texture. So that's all there is to it. And again, this is just a default gray texture, so we'll just leave that for now. Let me actually just do this so we can see. Alright. Now let's work on the mirror texture. Okay, so let's do a V-Ray material, okay, and let's turn on this little show background and preview button so we can see what we're doing. So I think the thing about mirrors is they pretty much reflect everything, so I think this needs to go to white, I believe, so you can see we're doing good. And then I want to say it doesn't have any Fresnel reflections, or actually I guess you can just turn it up to like 5, maybe 15. Well, no, it shouldn't have any. A perfect mirror really wouldn't have any. So this would make a perfect mirror right here. So we're going to call this mirror. Okay, and we're just going to drag that over to the inner section of the mirror as well as the outer section. Okay, good deal. Next, what we want to do is the outside of the mirror here has some sort of like black plasticky material. You can see here, you know, just this sort of black plastic stuff. So let's grab a V-Ray material. Alright, we're going to call this mirror border, and we're going to give it a pretty dark diffuse texture, some sort of, you know, gray value. And then I should have paused there for a second to go make some hot chocolate because that was cold. So back to the plastic, and let's give this a slight reflection here. You can show the background and we'll give this a let's see, Fresnel reflections are enabled, which is what we want, and maybe give this a bit of a glossiness in the reflector. Let's try 0.8. Maybe 0.7. There we go. That's kind of a plastic looking feel to it. And that should do perfect for the outer edge. So let's just grab just the outer edge piece, and we can assign material to selection. Okay, so let's go over into our render window if we can find it. It disappeared somewhere. Let's just go scroll over, render setup, V-ray, frame buffer, and show last frame buffer. Okay, and let's just wander over here to sort of the corner of the mirror and render this and see what we get. Alright, so that rendered, and here's what we're after. So you can see we're pretty much spot on with the textures. Maybe we can make it a little bit lighter, so we're going to come in here to our texture, go to the diffuse slot, and we'll just make that a bit lighter. Just a bit lighter gray, okay? And that should do it for our border. Let's do a quick re-render, and we're just going to do just this little area over here. It'll go a lot faster. Okay, so not really much lighter. Let's try a bit lighter than that. There we go. So now we're definitely doing a little better. Okay, so that'll be that texture, and let me just blow this up here and see what else we can use this for. So we also have our mirror texture needs to be on the 3 mirrors. So let's just select 1, 2, and go into perspective real quick, and let's select 3, and we will grab this and assign material to selection. Okay, so they should have mirror assigned to them now. Next, what we can do is make a simple glass material. So go to Viewer Material and drag it out. Okay, we'll call this glass. Oh, I think we're on the wrong one here. There we go. Glass. And the thing about glass is it basically has 100% reflect and 100% refract. Okay, so if you bring that up, that's what you get. And to make it be a bit more realistic, we're just going to give it, a glossiness of 0.99, just because nothing in life is absolutely perfect. Okay, and now this glass will be basically assigned to, well, anything glass-like. Let's assign it to the tabletop here. Okay, actually, I was pretty sure we had a little top on that table. I am almost positive we did. I have no idea where it went. Well, we need one. Okay, well, I'll work on that momentarily. I may have deleted it, but this one we need to assign it to. And this little, let's see, this picture frame right here, is this what we want? Yes, this is what we want. So we're going to assign it to that. Okay, we're going to have some doors too that'll need it. And I think that is all that will require it. So let's go to our camera, and I should just never get rid of this thing. Render setup. Okay, show last frame buffer. Alright, and let's just pick a little portion over here, and let's see how that does in our render. Okay, completely forgot that we didn't actually put the glass there. So let's grab this portion sort of over here and see how that looks. Alright, so you can see some reflections in here. We're actually going to do the whole thing here just to see what we've got, because I'm not really sure what it looks like without doing that. Alright, there we go. We now have some nice reflections from the curtains and such. That's exactly what we want. When we put a picture behind there eventually, it'll work a little better. Let's also render this section out here just so we can see how it looks over here. It should be just perfect, so we shouldn't have to do very much, but better safe than sorry. Alright, here we go. So we have a nice glass shader right here. it looks pretty good. I mean, we'll have to play with the lighting a little bit to get it just right, but I believe the shader itself should be doing good. So next what we can do is let's work on the painting shader for behind the picture here. So we're just going to go ahead, let me pull up my Google here, and we're just going to Google, I don't know, landscape painting. We're not going to make a picture by ourselves. That would not be any fun at all. So let's just pick a kind of cool one. Let's see, what would you find on a cruise cabin? So here, this one looks sort of tropical. Cool enough, okay. Let's copy that image and let's go into Photoshop. Okay, and file new, I was doing a little channel update thing there, and paste that. So let's go to image, canvas size. We'll just change it to %, and we'll just do this, 250 by 250. That'll just give us some extra room, and let's do another layer. Okay, so this is basically a two-tone thing. So what we're going to do is sort of grab this like so. Okay, and fill it with an off-white color. So let's go to white and something that's a bit off-white. Okay, and let's fill it. Okay, now what we can do is press Control D. Actually, let's just duplicate layer. Okay, Control T. Shift drag it out a bit, and let's just position it in the center again. And right about there is probably good. You can make it pretty big. Okay. Bring that below that layer. Let's pick a nice sort of a deep blue. Okay, and there we go. Watch out. And maybe even a bit deeper than that. More blue, less purple. There we go, that should work nicely. Okay, so now we've kind of got that. Now what we can do is image, actually we can just crop it. Alright, we're basically just making a diffuse texture for the painting is what we're doing. Okay, that looks pretty good, and now let's try to even out all of the edges. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Well, I still think this needs to be darker, so we're just gonna darken it up a bit and fill it. There we go. So, file, save as. We can save this into our cruise cabin as texture folder. We can save this as painting underscore diffuse. And Photoshop file's fine for now. So now let's go back into Max. Just select that render element. Create a new V-Ray material. Okay, we'll call this painting. Okay, and go to the diffuse, bitmap. Let's navigate to our cruise cabin folder and select our diffuse painting here. Alright, now we need to select, well actually I wonder if we do have anything behind that. We probably don't, so let's perspective Z, grab this pane of glass, bring it out a bit, drag it back, okay, and then let's just assign the selection and then show shaded material in viewport. Now, I can't actually tell. I think it's a bit too far back. There you go. And maybe thin up this glass a bit. Let's go to the top F3. Actually, perspective Z. Let's just grab all of this. deselect that, isolate selection, unfreeze all, go to the top viewport, and we should have why do we only have one thing? Pretty sure I just made two pieces of this geometry. Let's press Alt X, that way we can actually see it. And let's double make sure it's assigned. There we go. Okay, and then we can drag that back. So you'll see it pretty much just fits perfect. So now if we go back into our render window, which is again not disappeared, let's render this out and see what we get. Okay, so I don't know if our glass is doing what our glass needs to do, so we're just going to ensure the top layer actually has our glass material assigned to it. Okay, and then go back into our render window here. Let's re-render it. It could be that it's simply not showing anything. Ooh, that's not good. What are we rendering? We are rendering not what we want. Here we go. So let's check it now. Excellent. So now you can compare it to our image here. So we're sort of exactly the same. You kind of got that faded color, which is exactly what we want. Now, everything is going to have a little bit of reflection. So let's go here, show viewport and background. Let's just give it a tiny bit of reflection here, okay? And if you give it a lot, you know, you'll see that it's going to reflect a ton, but just a little bit should help play it off, because it's sort of like an oil painting, and those are definitely going to have some sort of reflection. So that'll aid it a bit. And also, let's go to the maps, and we're going to use this same map we had for the wall. We're just going to shift drag it down. Okay. And what's happening here? Okay. Kind of drag this over here. Now we're going to use this same noise map as a bump map. Okay. So it'll just give us a bit of, you know, bump in our image. Not much, but a little bit. Alright, and you won't really be able to see it in the render too much unless you're doing a really high res. So we'll call that done for now. Next, this frame in the painting also has a sort of black material, it looks like. So we're simply going to grab that, and let's put a polygon here. And we can, I want to say grab all these, press grow. Okay, and then we will simply detach, and we'll attach this as frame, picture frame border. Picture frame border. Okay, and now that we've attached it, we can select it, and that should just be the border. And let's make it that same black plastic material. So grab this and assign to selection. Okay, perfect. Now we can do sort of a faded, actually I think we need to have, let's see, what do we need? Grab that, we'll grow it, and we'll detach this. Okay, and this will be picture frame front, because the inside also has that sort of same, let's see, not this one. Yeah, this portion is also going to be that same material right here. So we'll assign to selection. Now we'll do this outer picture frame material. So this is sort of a, it almost looks like a very sort of like gold almost, but blurred out. So let's try to make that. So we're going to go in here and call this front picture frame. Okay. And we're going to just assign it there. Okay. So first we're going to give the diffuse sort of a, well, the best way to start is with a gold color. Alright, and now this definitely is going to have some reflections in it. Alright, maybe a little reflection. Well, no, just reflection I think is what we want for now. And let's think about this. It's going to need maybe a little more than that. Okay, and then we just need to give it a high glossiness, maybe like 0.7. Yeah, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6. Not bad. Maybe change this to this different. This is more of a metal shading, and we can. Let's see. I think it needs more than 8.4, 5. All right, let's go into our render window here. Go into our camera view, and we're just going to re-render this little section and see what we get. All right, so this is what we get. So we're definitely not. I think we're too glossy. So 0.7 should make it a little bit better. And then in the diffuse channel, what do I want? Maybe lighten this up a bit. And then we need maps. Let's get a, what do we want? Maybe a bump map. Standard noise map. Okay. Let's make the noise pretty small, you know, 0.5. Maybe 1. Yeah, 0.5. Okay, and we want to tile it a lot in one direction, like 5. Oops. 5. This will give it sort of a stretched appearance, I believe. Make that fractal noise as well. Let's just change this to 5 just so we can see what's happening here. 10. So basically we're trying to stretch it in sort of one direction. It's not quite doing what I want though, so let's change this to 1. And what do I want to do here? I want to, yeah, tiling is basically, I want to sort of stretch it. I'm also looking at the texture here. It actually doesn't look bad tiled like that. But it's not what I'm looking for either, so let's try that real quick and just see what it gives us. Alright, so still not doing quite what I want, so we're just going to go in here and maybe give it, we're going to unlock this and perhaps give it a bit higher, maybe around 6, because gold is, you know, a little higher than that, maybe 5. And let's re-render and see how it goes. Alright, so we're getting a little something here. I think we need to decrease the size of this to about 0.3 though. Go in here, and our subdivisions, let's change this to maybe 16. And let's give it another re-render. Alright, so we're getting a little closer here. Still need to bring this size down, so maybe 0.05. And glossiness is still good, 16. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so I think what we need to do now is maybe bring this up a little bit more, maybe to 7, and let's do it again. We're getting really close though. You can see the reflections are, well, you can't really see on the other picture, but they're getting pretty close to the one over here, which is what I'm just trying to match and make it seem the same as. All right, there we go. So bring this together. I mean, those look just about as close as I can make them. I mean, that is almost spot on texture-wise. Maybe we could change the background here to more teal. So let's do that real quick, the picture. So go into Photoshop. Let's grab this and maybe make it a bit sort of lighter like that. Okay, and we will paint that puppy in. We'll just save this. It's already in use, of course it is. How do we get around this? Okay, well, yes, obviously. Okay, let's just do File, Save As, Paint Diffuse, JPEG. Or we'll just use this from now on. So let's go into our painting here, bitmap. Let's just change what it points to. Okay, so let's open up our material thing again. We'll re-render this again. All right, there we go. Let's bring up our other picture. So here we are. These pictures are pretty much really close. I could probably still lighten this up a little bit. So we're gonna go in here and just sort of pick a lighter tone. Okay, let's save as JPEG, save, yes. All right, now go back in 3ds Max and just, it'll automatically update. Do a quick re-render. Pull up our other image here, and let's see what we get. All right, there we go. So I'm going to call those portions of the texture basically done. Maybe I want this a bit darker though on the side. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using this exact same thing for the mirror border, we're going to call this picture border. We're going to darken it up just a tad. Okay, and then we're gonna just click that and assign to selection just to darken it up a bit. That'll allow us just to get a bit closer to the image that we're after. All right, so there we go. We've got that, and let me just remove this, and we will go full frame and render everything we have, and let's do a quick summary of the texture so far. All right, so it finished rendering. So you can see we've got our nice glass in there, very easy material. Our borders in there, you know, our picture frame border, as well as the outside edge, our glass over the frame picture. So you can see it's pretty easy just making these textures. We'll just carry on. That'll be it for this part. I will see you guys in the next part where we continue on texturing. Happy modeling, and I will see you next time.